Welcome back to Dead Pine Archives. My name is Dan, and I'm here with Neil, Kelly, and Zachary.
Hey, hey.
What's up, podcast world?
Hi.
So confident whenever we start.
And it all falls apart later on.
That's not even true. You're doing great.
Over to Dan.
Over to Kelly with her story.
Sports.
Jesus. Goddamn.
But yeah, so Kelly, you have a story for us, right?
I do have a story.
What's it about?
Today we're going to be talking about the Fayette Ghost Town in Michigan.
Ooh.
So yeah, with this story, we're going to be touching on a few different topics. Some topics such as some northern history, touches of anxiety, what it truly means to sweat like a pig, and maybe even Spider-Man?
What?
In terms of ghost towns, Fayette once started out as the UP's most productive iron smelting operations location.
Iron smelting?
Yep.
Smelting, yes.
It's
What
a
is
thing.
smelting?
Smelling while melting.
Ah, thank you.
Ha-cha-cha-cha. No, smelting is basically melting down metals into liquid to then reform them into other shapes, essentially.
Oh,
you can-
okay.
and to sometimes refine them and make them more pure.
Okay. I thought smelting was just melting with a lisp.
You and Zach are both great additions to the show.
I
Happy
was
to have
just
you here.
smelting. Sally went smelting down at the seashore.
By way of the Jackson Iron Company. The town was built up following the post-Civil War need for iron and boasted an ideal setup for the task. 2 large blast furnaces, multiple kilns, the nearby docks for shipping, and plenty of trees, because it's the UP, to serve as a seemingly endless supply of fuel. Nearly 500 residents lived in and near the town upon its ascent into industry, and most of them were there to help produce one thing: pig iron.
Pig iron? What the hell is even that?
I will tell you, audience.
They got pigtails in them.
Because when I was researching this, I made the exact same face. I was like, okay,
Huh?
elaborate, please.
Sounds like a football coach having a stroke.
No,
Oh, the gridiron, the pigskin.
no,
the pig iron.
Get over to the pig iron and throw me a
No,
touchdown
no.
basket.
nightmare. Pig iron, also known as crude iron, is an intermediate good used by the iron industry in the production of steel. Basically, it's lower quality iron that gets used for lower
Pigs.
level things.
Poor
Yeah.
pigs.
It's developed by smelting iron ore in a blast furnace. It has a higher carbon content, which ends up making the ingots a lot more brittle, which is, again, why you can't use large quantities of it. They have to be used in smaller amounts for stuff that doesn't need a higher quality of metal.
Gotcha.
I, for one, hate brittle ingots.
They're the worst.
If I had a nickel for every brittle ingot I came across,
How many nickels?
I don't know. Because I don't know what a brittle ingot is.
Find it.
It's just a brick of metal!
Ingot damn near killed it. I don't know.
So it's called pig iron because the traditional shape of the molds used to make these ingots is a branching structure formed in sand, with many individual ingots at various angles coming off of a central channel or runner, which people gave it this name because they said it resembled a litter of pigs being nursed by a sow.
Oh,
What is a
and
sow?
It's just it's
it's
just
a
a
female
mom pig.
Oh, okay.
It's a lady pig. And initially I was having a very hard time trying to figure out exactly the structure of what they were talking about, because I was like, okay, did they use some sort of machine? Did they, like, how did this come out? And then the second I saw a photo of it, I was like, oh, they mean like it has like a central area that it comes down, and then there's the parts that branch off.
okay.
It
The way
is
I
the
would-
most abstract form of like if you squint your eyes, climb a hill, have a beer, it's
Upside
a
down.
mom, pig, and babies. And I was like,
yes.
It's like a butthole.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this spider webbing motion or whatever, or centipede,
you didn't
or
call it a spider.
yeah, so that's where the name pig iron comes from. Pig iron is still made now, but it's not just poured in sand on the ground anymore, but they just still use the term. It's just another term for crude iron, low quality iron. It's important to note that we by no means invented pig iron. That shit dates back to at least 256 BC in China.
Oh yeah.
So
Holy shit. In
not
the Minecraft movie.
What?
What about it, Neil?
Let him cook.
That's why the pigs are in the iron, world.
Keep working.
I never saw the movie, so I don't know what you're
I
talking
never played
about.
the game, so this is my only reference.
It's the Nether, and
The Nether.
I don't
yes.
think it's iron.
You don't?
No,
The lava stuff flowing through it? Is it just lava?
It's just lava.
I think there's the Nether rock
Don't
or
they
something like
melt
that.
stuff like iron?
They might
with
melt
the lava?
stuff. I
I didn't see the movie either.
I
Oh.
did see it twice, but I don't remember.
I've only played the game. But that would be a fun reason why there are so many pigs in Minecraft.
That would make sense, but also I think they just really like pig.
Yeah, that's fair.
Me like
That's
pig.
fair.
Pig nice.
Let him cook.
He cooked.
Can you combine iron and a pig to make pig iron in
No.
Minecraft?
No, you
No.
can't. You can eat a pig.
They're not even one of the animals that can have armor.
Well, that's dumb.
I know.
That's
They could
dumb, and it
update it.
goes against everything this episode stands for.
I really
really
want
does.
to. And that goes against everything I stand for.
Yes.
Pig iron is such a relevant thing and has been for so long, though, that fun fact, that's where the expression sweat like a pig comes from. It comes from the iron smelting process. It has nothing to do with pigs actually sweating, because as the iron cools, the surrounding air reaches its dew point and beads of moisture form on the surface of the quote-unquote pigs. That indicates that the iron has cooled long enough to be safely handled. During the 24 years of operation, Fayette's blast furnaces produced a total of over 200,000 tons of iron, and they were using local hardwood forests for fuel and quarrying limestone from the bluffs to purify the iron ore. But when the charcoal iron market began to decline, the Jackson Iron Company closed its Fayette smelting operations in 1891. And another event that led to the demise of the company was just the fact that they exhausted all of the hardwood in the area. Because yes, ideally, when you're starting out a business that requires a lot of wood for fuel in the UP, you can't, there's a million trees everywhere. You can't throw a rock without hitting 47 trees. But at some point, after 24 years, you're gonna start to run out of trees.
Yeah.
You're gonna start to run out of trees. So after shutting down operations, all but only 20 residents left Fayette in search of employment elsewhere. Some did choose to stay nearby, but they had to resort to farming and fishing. The timeline of that is basically 1867, the town was founded. 1880s was the peak of production. 1891, industrial closure and mass departure started. But then in 1859, the area was designated as a state park.
Oh.
Which you can still visit today. But the fun thing is, when I was going through the list of things that we could cover throughout Michigan, I saw this one and I was like, okay, Ghost Town. And then the more I read into it, I was like, it's in the UP. There's a limestone quarry. I've heard of this before.
Jake and M?
I've heard of it before because Jake and Em went there a few years ago. And I remember because when our friends Jake and Emily, when I was living with Emily, she and Jake had gone on a trip and then they told me about this ghost town. And I remember it because when they came back, they talked about how it was very cool to explore. There wasn't anything too particularly spooky about it, except for there was a point where they just got to a point where they were there in the off season. So there was nobody else around. And all of a sudden, they just started to feel very eerie about how echoey the quarry was and how abandoned everything felt. Because that's the main thing about ghost towns is just that feeling of being watched, that feeling of not being where you're supposed to be, all of that stuff. It's now gotten to the point where because it is a state park, it has been very well preserved and maintained. And they do have on seasons, quote unquote, where you can either go and take self-guided tours or you can take the historical tours to go check it out. And they do have a shit ton of stuff. Fun fact, it is also about 3.5 to 4 hours away from Mackinac Island, about 5 hours away from Traverse City, and it is also listed that it is 7 hours away from Chicago. So if you're visiting from out of state,
go to the website therealmaryscratchmans.com for more information.
Neil, don't you dare.
I've been cooking that one up for the last 10 minutes.
Oh, my Lord.
bless you. Nowadays, it's considered one of the most well-preserved ghost towns, largely thanks to its isolated location, but also due to the fact that its status as a state park has kept it very well maintained. During the peak season, you can visit the historic Fayette State Park and enjoy many features from hiking trails, areas for skiing, picnicking, swimming, playgrounds, camping, and of course, visiting the central town site that still remains frozen in time. Visitors can walk through the well-preserved buildings that have been standing for 150 years and learn about life during the 19th century.
Are all the buildings still there?
There are central buildings that are still there. The main thing that I thought was really cool, and there are a lot of pictures online, and I will pull, actually, I think I don't have it up, is one of the central kilns, and like where the blast furnaces are still there. Hang on.
Ooh. I would love to go. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
God, they always take scenic photos of the shore, and I'm like, no, just show me the spooky.
The Jersey Shore? Oh my God, what if they had their own Jersey Shore?
Of a ghost town.
Yeah.
We showed up for work at the t-shirt shop today and nobody's fucking here.
We sold one
are
t-shirt
they?
to ourselves.
There is the water around it, which
Wait,
makes
can I
it very
get-
beautiful, but you do have a lot of the old buildings that don't have their windows anymore.
That's
Well,
cool.
that
That is very cool.
understandable
Well,
that
I
the
mean,
windows
yes.
would be gone eventually, but
Yes.
those are very cool.
Did the ghost take them?
Another local point of interest is a place called Spider Cave.
Don't like it.
Is it? Is it an interest?
Which I knew Neil would love. It's also known as Burnt Bluff Cave.
That's a sick ass fucking
I was gonna say that's a
name.
much better name. Let's call it that.
So we said what?
So
burnt what?
Spider Cave is Spider Cave or Burnt Bluff Cave. It's a archaeological site located in the Garden Peninsula near Fayette, and it was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1971. But it is located 20 feet above the base of Burnt Bluff, which is a 150-foot tall limestone cliff. It was formed approximately 4,000 years ago. Fun fact, it is about 30 feet or 9.1 meters deep, which means I'm not going in it. The cave contains 4 pictographs, and the most distinctive is a pictograph of a man connected to what appears to be a spider by a spiral umbilical cord.
No, thank you.
What the fuck?
So everyone else says this town is like eerie, but whatever. Neil's like, this is the most haunted
So,
place
like,
in
oh,
America.
Spider.
So do you
fucking
take like 2
umbilical
right
baby.
turns and then you go into the hell cave? Is that...
Yeah.
Spider
a
umbilical
priest
cord
is
baby.
brought?
What's even
Spider
funnier
thing.
about that, though, is I could not find any color photographs of this because this was first discovered in 1963. All of the photos in the articles that I found were in black and white, which kills me. But because of erosion and because of tourists putting water on the pictographs to be able to see them better so they wouldn't have as much dust, they have faded ridiculously over time.
Yeah.
But when they were originally found, the paint colors of the quote-unquote Spider-Man varied from red-violet to blue-violet.
Oh.
So it had red and blue in it as well, which is very funny.
They were proud to be an American.
No, it's Spider-Man colors!
Yeah, and he was proud to be
It's
an
Spider-Man!
American.
So I do have 2 photos of what the pictograph looks like.
Pictograph makes me think of.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that.
Oh, wait,
I don't like it.
No.
I like how husky he is.
That was
it
like
looks
a-
like a spider and or one of those face huggers.
It's just in terms of the Spider Cave. The caves on Burnt Bluff were probably first occupied by humans sometime around 1200 BC, though the earliest historical recordings of people in the Burnt Bluff area inhabited the land well before European settlements, and likely as early as 1500. There are some Ojibwe folks that still live in the area and can trace their family lineage back to those people.
That's cool.
That's the whole, like, southern chunk of Canada that is above Michigan. Like, big chunk. Big chunk. And then, obviously, in the 1800s, much of the Garden Peninsula was deeded to the Jackson Iron Company, which then ran the area into the ground and then left.
What?
Okay, so that was a lot of history. I apologize.
Don't
I
ever
had-
apologize.
I had
for
to give
history.
a little bit of context.
Yeah.
So now,
The
on
history's
to
my favorite part.
onto the spooky stuff. When you visit the site, theinnatStonecliff.com, which is a site for a Mackinac Island tourist location, there's a page dedicated to the history of the ghost town of Fayette. On the page, there's a section for popular legends and reports. There are only 3. They are listed as shadows near the furnace at dusk, sounds of footsteps and conversation in empty homes, and cold spots and atmospheric tension. Though the site does admit that it's, quote, less haunted house, more cinematic time capsule. Many, many air quotes. In my searches, the only real reference I could find to a haunting legend was the following. So this story is called The House That Waits. They say that if you walk past the old boarding house at Fayette after sunset, you should never look directly at the second floor window. The one with the half-shattered pane. Probably fully shattered by now. The locals call it the eye, because even when the house is empty, someone, or something, always seems to be watching from there. Back in 1893, the house belonged to a woman named Eleanor Blackthorne.
That's such a cool name. I'm sorry.
It is, but it's also very, like, Abigail Night Witch, like, very on the nose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A quiet widow who took in lonely ironworkers as tenants.
I'm shy.
A prostitute.
No, she could have just been a lady that ran an inn.
Oh, it made it seem like you were trying to be, like, discreet about her being...
Her rules were simple. No noise after dark.
Oh, then she's not a prostitute. Never mind. Take that back.
Some people like quiet intercourse.
No noise after dark. No locked doors.
Oh, that actually changes my mind once again. Continue.
And never, under any circumstances, go into room number 6. One stormy night, a curious worker named Thomas disobeyed. He pried open the door to room 6 and never came out. The next morning, Eleanor was gone. No note, no struggle, just her black shawl folded neatly on the stairs. And room 6 was sealed shut from the inside, though no one was ever found. Since then, people say the house waits. Visitors report whispers behind doors, footsteps pacing overhead, and shadows that move without light. One park ranger claimed he heard scratching behind room 6's door, only to find it still locked from the inside. But the most disturbing part? Some nights, if the wind is just right and you stand still long enough, you'll hear a woman humming a lullaby. Soft at first, then louder, until it feels like it's coming from inside your own chest.
Ooh.
No one knows what really happened in room 6, but everyone agrees the house is not empty. It's waiting. And that was a comment left on Facebook by a man known only as David.
David, I need to hear more.
No, and the funny thing is, when I was looking up, because I went into Facebook, I took a page out of your book. I looked into Facebook comments just to be like, has anybody said anything? Even if somebody wrote one sentence that was just like, saw a demon, and then like fucking anything. Every single comment that I found, because there were a lot of them. A lot of the comments were just like, oh my God, I used to go here when I was a kid.
Yep.
It's so beautiful, blah, blah, blah.
Which is
David rolled up, posted this, and not only did he post this, he copy and pasted this 4 times under 4 different comments. He had to tell this story.
He was like, they must know of this woman.
Apparently
Very
the story
interesting.
was originally by someone named
Gary?
Sweats.
Is it actually Gary Sweats?
Swets. So there's no A.
Nice.
Yeah. But David had to let people know that this happened. So that was the only, I tried really hard because when you go onto that site, it mentions shadows near the furnace, sounds of footsteps and conversation, cold spots. And then when you do Google it, you will get the AI overview, which is a piece of shit. And the AI overview just kind of took from the same sites that I already went on and mashed them together. It said, oh, there's an eye, there's an inn where a lot of activity happens, la la la. It's all of the same shit. And I just thought it was really interesting because even though we know people that have been to that area, nobody has reported anything other than just a feeling of general unease when it comes to being in a ghost town. And everybody has had different experiences with like being somewhere, and again, those feelings of being watched, those feelings of being somewhere that you're not supposed to be. I've had a few experiences like that. I don't know if you guys have ever had something that feels kind of uneasy like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Example?
No, it's definitely happened. So when our grandparents had passed, Zachary was still going and taking care of things before the house was
I was
sold.
doing like their grass, and I'd take out their cans full of grass. So normal day, park in the driveway. I'm walking past the door, and something made me look because I was scared little bitch. I don't know. And I saw like decaying hands holding onto the windowsill because they had like they had the window in
of
the
the door. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could see like pressure on the fingers because it looked like it was trying to like pull up. So naturally, and they were like blue decaying fingers. It wasn't like. And
this actually, like, it did freak him out. He called me and Jennifer directly afterward and was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I ran into the backyard to get the can, and I was so scared to even go. But I was like, if something does come up the stairs, it's going to look at me from the window.
Yeah.
So I sprinted past, and every single time I went there after, I had to like cover my vision walking past it, and half time I sprinted. I wouldn't go there at night anymore. It scared the crap out of me, and I still get an eerie because I walk past it every once in a while.
And Zach's never been that person to be like, I saw something.
That.
It was terrifying. And I will say,
was-
even after, the family had contacted me and Jennifer and was like, hey, if you want anything from the house, we're going through it. And honestly, after that story, I was like,
Like, that's okay. In fact,
don't need
why
anything.
don't you burn it?
yeah, we might need to burn
The
it.
house.
Yeah, it's
all
just
of it.
like it was such a vivid like view
Well, that
of like the
basement
fingers.
had a bad vibe.
Yeah, and like overall, like I felt fine in the house until like
You get into
to
that
the
staircase.
basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you could come in the door and it did that thing where it was like the half landing and then it was like
Yeah.
a few steps up and then all the way down. And when you'd walk in that door, it was always quick to get away from that basement. That
Yeah,
basement
and
was always
Their garbage
so weird.
was so there was a door at the top of the like
Like there was a
two
little
steps.
closet.
There was a closet next to that on the landing side. So you have to go in the landing to throw something away, and every time I would just like
Dude,
throw-
as a
quick.
kid, it was one of those things where they were like, "Oh, you're in the kitchen with grandma. It's all good." And then you look down the staircase, and you're like,
Hell.
I have to step over
That
a little
is
bit.
hell.
Terrifying
Yeah.
basement.
Yeah, I still
Pass.
vividly remember every single detail about those fingers.
I never saw anything in that house. Or I blocked it out.
I didn't.
But
when they lived
that was
there,
creepy.
there was no one living there at the time either. Like,
It was empty.
They were past, and it. Well, I don't think Grandpa yet.
Oh, he was.
I don't know
But
exactly.
you were
the
there, like, taking
timeline.
care of the
no one.
house.
Yeah, no one should have been in that house, let alone decaying fingers.
So our dad's, our great grandpa.
On our dad's side, yeah.
Yes.
I was restating for the viewers.
Yeah. We called his house the Raymond Portal of Death because in his house there was only the bathroom and I think it was like the kitchen.
It was the kitchen, yeah.
That
It was
someone
the living
hadn't
room
died
until-
in.
Yeah.
So someone had died in both the bedrooms. In the garage, someone, I think they killed themselves, and I think
Either
someone
they
also,
hung
so yeah,
themselves or there was the car.
yeah, and then someone killed themselves in the basement, and
Our
it just
great grandpa passed in the living room, I believe.
I
Or
think he may have
his
been in
wife.
great grandma died in her bed in the room.
Okay.
And then our grandpa had a heart attack outside the house when he was driving by and ended up dying like right in front of the house.
Yeah, we don't go down that street.
No, not usually, not if we can avoid it. Anyways, but I remember being there after the funeral, and I remember sitting in the guest bedroom, which was the room that I think great grandma died in. I think that's what they told me. Anyway, someone died in there, and I remember sitting there alone, and I was so scared I couldn't get off the bed because I was just sitting there, and I had a little music box that I really wanted, but
That's
my uncle got
terrifying.
it. Yeah, it was really cute though. And so there's this little music box. And I'm holding it and I'm sitting there. And I mean, I was young. Like our great grandfather died when I was
I
very
think I
young.
was like 3.
Yeah, it was a very, very, very young Dan. But I'm sitting on that bed and I was literally terrified to like not being able to move. I don't know what it was. I just couldn't move. And I knew that if I like got off the bed, I thought something was going to grab me.
In the room, like across the hall where they had that couch, I would feel like things grabbing my ankles.
Yeah, there was
from
something
under the couch.
Oh, I actually did not know that you had that experience.
I forgot about that until you mentioned it. But
terrifying.
I was like super young. But
yeah,
I that's like the two things I remember from there.
Fantastic shag carpet.
I mean, I don't know. I've never really been into the shag carpet.
Gummy bears. But I remember just sitting there until our dad had come in the room and he was like, What are you doing? Let's go, you know? And I was like, please pick me up. I can't put my feet down. But that was one of the most terrifying experiences I had. Dude. I was so freaking scared.
I bet.
I felt like something was there. I mean, nothing happened and I didn't see anything.
Something probably was there.
Might
not have been bad, but.
So you had this experience after, like, you had the knowledge beforehand that someone died in that room?
At that age, no.
At that age, no?
No, I did not know that until I was older.
Yeah,
interesting.
We were everyone had been already out of that house before we even knew anything.
Yeah, because we were young, and as much as our parents liked to scare us, they did not tell us all that. We only knew that older. Benjamin knew it young.
It's kind of sick to like scare a 3-year-old too.
And well, they still did.
But I mean, like that though. Like,
yeah. No, that's messed up. And I think that's interesting though, because just like, you know, I mean, obviously when we talk about ghost towns, it's the ghost of a town, not necessarily a town filled with ghosts, right?
Kind of wish it was, but
But I think that like that idea does tie together, right? Where whether it be like the actual ghost of family members or something, some presence in the smaller like family home or this whole town, there's a connection there of like the loss of something that was there once, right? Mm-hmm. And I think like for me, because when I was talking to Kelly earlier about like, have I ever experienced, you know, the uneasy feeling of like being somewhere and feeling like I was being watched, it has happened. And I think you mentioned this, Zachary, like an episode or two ago, when you were talking about how you worked at one of the schools and they turned off all the lights.
Terrifying.
Well, and that's the whole thing, but that's the same. And I think there's something like, especially, so humans, we're very social animals, right? So when you walk into a place that like, we also like everything, how our mind like initially processes things is all based on patterns, right? So the pattern is I walk into a town, there's a lot of people in a town.
Yeah.
So I walk into this town of abandoned buildings and I'm like one of the only people there. You know, like I think that's immediately going to flip that pattern on its head.
It's the uncanny valley, like conundrum or all that. Like if you go somewhere and it's not the pattern, like you were saying, your brain is like, this is not fitting into what I know.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's the same with the school, right? You walk into the school during the day that you're there every day and you're people, like, there's nothing scary about this place at all. The second the lights aren't out or you're there at a different time of day, it's like, oh, everything is terrifying.
Yeah, and I had to really get used to that because we worked 6:30. I had to be there at 6:30 in the morning, so you have
the mornings were terrifying because I had to do that too.
Yeah, you might have a janitor, but I mean, school's not small, so I mean, it's small compared to like a high school, but like that janitor could
You're not going to see him.
Yeah, and if you do, it'll be usually he whistles, so I think that was very nice that he like warned people. Well, you knew it was him though. Wow. And then, I think we had a lady towards the end of my time there. But and then at night, same thing. You maybe have a janitor and you occasionally have the parents coming in. And before, we were secluded in a room in the far corner. So to go to the computer lab, you're going across the whole school essentially. So you're walking through completely empty areas. And like you said, like it was a very difficult adjustment on my part because you figure there's like, I don't know, a lot. I don't know how many kids are in elementary school, but a lot. And I was there during the day, so I saw all the kids. And then at night, there's no one, and it's hard to get used to that.
Right, and I think like okay, so back to the patterns thing, right? Like we have this idea of like our brain's expectations of what a place is supposed to look like, you know, whatever. who's supposed to be there. I think what ties into that is also like the societal expectation that are like existing in society, right? Where it's like, if you have a feeling going in somewhere that, hey, I'm not supposed to be here, it changes everything about like your lizard brain starts picking up on every little sound, on every little movement, because like that's it. My office at work, right? I went there on a weekend one day, and it's like a stupid fucking office building. Like, it doesn't matter. But I think this ties back into like the liminal spaces kind of thing we talked about earlier, where it's like I walked in, the lights are off. I mean, there's still a lot of windows I can see.
Yeah, there's natural light.
But something's off. Yeah. It's
but
wrong.
It's like, it's the feeling that like, oh, I'm somewhere I shouldn't necessarily be, right? Or at least I wouldn't normally be.
Yeah.
And now suddenly this is like a much scarier experience.
Yeah, I get that at work all the time. Like we think there's, I mean, you hear noises from our warehouse all the time. We're convinced that there is something there, and you'll see footsteps, things go missing, all those kind of things. And I went in over Christmas break, and I was like full volume phone trying to create some noise to kind of give me that pattern thing back, and it was not fun. I was there for like an hour and a half, and the whole time I'm sitting there uncomfortable because I'm in this place where all the noises happen, where you see footsteps on the stairs going upstairs, and no one goes up there anymore besides pretty much me and Ben, and it's not fun.
It's not fun. Kelly, have you had any experiences like that?
Well, and it'll even happen even if you go to a place that like you've never necessarily been to before. I get it a lot when I go to, like, if you go to a chain store and you're used to the one that's like in your town, like if you go to a Kroger or something, and then you go to one that's in a different town, or as I call it, like the quote unquote vibes of the up north Kroger.
Yeah.
Where when you go to one when you are like wildly out of town, and then you walk in, and not only is the entire layout completely different, but also the lights seem a little wrong.
Yeah, they're like kind of dull almost.
And somehow there aren't as well, because especially when you go up north, it's like more rural and there isn't like as dense of a population.
You don't
even
need to
though
have
like
full power going to every single light every second.
well, even if you go to like
Same
usually
power.
if you go up north, like the Meijer or the Walmart or whatever is kind of like the central mecca of the town.
Yeah.
But sometimes you go up north and you go into like the quote unquote up north Kroger, and there aren't many people around, and all of the lights are more yellow than you're used to, and you're like,
and like the even like the even
I'm in Uyer, not
even
Meyer.
the what's the word, that shelves even like the like where all the food and stuff is.
oh yeah, I thought
Like-
you were saying the chain place.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never been to Shelves.
I was like, tell us shelves,
no,
gas
like
station?
just where they have all the food on the shelves and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Instead of having like, you know, an entire wall of bread, there's like 4 things of bread.
Four single breads.
And it just doesn't like, and obviously they are producing what they, you know, supply and demand, so they're only getting what they need, so it doesn't go bad, which is great. But it just, when you walk in there, you're like, is it I can pick from one bread or one other bread. Which bread do I
is
want?
one of these the wrong answer? Will I be murdered if I take
Yeah.
the wrong bread?
There's one orange juice, and it looks slightly empty. I'm confused.
Yeah.
But, you know, you walk into that, and it's just, like, out of your, you know, different than your normal life, so you're kind of like, this isn't right.
Yeah, it's just those feelings when, like, you're in a space and it's, like, the uncanny valley or the liminal space thing, etc., where it feels like even if you're in a place that you've been in before multiple times, like whenever I go down that path at Dodge Park when I'm by myself, and everything seems to go a little bit diagonal slightly, where like I'm out there, I'm by myself, and I've had no problems up through this point, and then all of a sudden you're very aware of the fact that not only are you alone and you haven't seen anybody in a minute, not even from like a murderer aspect, but just like you're open, like everything's open and like around you, but then all of a sudden you're like, something here feels hostile.
Yeah.
And it's not an area where there's like a bear. It's not like nothing's going to necessarily come out and get you, but you're suddenly just like,
The energy's different.
I
Which I
don't-
do agree with you. Now, I don't get it to the degree you do. And I love
think I
that
might.
path. Do you know the path she's talking about?
No, but I do go running there sometimes, and there's been plenty of times where I've gotten farther than my group, and I am severely uncomfortable.
It'll either be when I'm over near that swampland or when you take like the other path that leads you over to like where stuff is fenced in. Like there's the whole wall that's like just fence, and then there's kind of like the wood path.
Where all those mushrooms
Are
are.
any of these like after
Kind
you
of.
go underneath that like stone bridge?
I don't go past the bridge because sometimes I get weird vibes from the bridge.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I do too, but that's usually where I run.
Yeah.
I'll
If you
run
go like
past
75 yards past the bridge, doesn't that just take you to the parking lot?
There is a parking lot over there, but
it's-
I go farther than that.
And it's
Oh.
also like the opposite parking lot from like where I park.
Yeah.
Ah.
So
yeah.
I'm just farther away from my car.
yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. I usually turn around right around there, but one time I was like, oh, I'll just keep, oh, not one time, but a couple times I was like, I'll just keep going. I'll see for shits and gigs.
I don't know what bridge you're talking about.
The
It's
bridge with all the
literally- yeah.
flower murals.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
graffiti.
yeah.
Which I
Like,
also don't think I've
over
ever been over
underpass,
there when it
whatever.
hasn't been like wicked overcast. I don't think I've ever been there on a sunny day, which also just makes me feel like there's something wrong.
It's like you hit
That's
that like different
understandable.
dimension as you cross by the bridge.
the
Well, the one place
the
I know
Hellflower Bridge.
the Hellflower. The one spot you were talking about, like it's very
the swamp.
different. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different looking than like the rest of it. It kind of makes me think of the Lord of the Rings when they're by the bodies in the swamp and all that. It has a similar look to it. I don't get it as much as you because I still will walk down there because I think it's really pretty.
Mhm.
But it does have a little bit of a different vibe going on.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that it does have a very tall fence with barbed wire on the top of it that goes along that and then down that whole other trail.
Yeah.
That might have something to do with it, but
I mean,
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
also just that
Sometimes the
feeling of
gate's
being
open.
like at the end of the world kind of thing where like you haven't seen anybody in a minute and you're out and about and you have like no contact to like regular society and suddenly maybe it's just me. Maybe this is where the anxiety portion comes in. But if I'm like out walking on a trail, at some point I will reach a point where like I don't hear any traffic. I haven't seen a person in a minute. I'm just like, if the apocalypse started right now, how would I know? Who would tell me there's no one here? How do I get back to my car?
the only way you're going to know if there's zombies is if one comes right at you.
No.
And then you have to fight it off with your bare hands.
We're not going to get into this
Mustang
because we could
and
talk for
Sally.
hours about what type of zombies because some of them you could survive better than others. But if
I
it's
just-
Resident
my-
Evil, I'm not going.
No.
I'm not
Okay,
going.
that-
yeah, it's not
okay,
happening.
Yeah, okay. I won't go too much into it.
That'd be
The default zombies is just the Walking Dead zombies.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But the second they're made in a lab, I don't want it. Anyway.
Yeah. But let's be honest, that's probably the more realistic zombie we're going to
No,
get
stop.
is
No.
lab-made zombies.
No.
I hate this whole discussion. Moving on.
But yeah, that was pretty much all I had.
Oh, all right,
Well, thank you,
cool.
Kelly.
Yep. Ghost towns. There are more in Michigan. That was just the main one that came up. And then also, again, because we know people that have been there personally, I was just like,
Yeah, and it's like really good preserved.
yeah.
would really like to go
whole
there.
state park now.
See, that's really cool. And also, like, I know you, like, apologized earlier for the history, but I
want
love
the history.
Yes. And I'm sure our listeners do, too. I also, being who I am,
A nerd.
yeah, loved the explanation of the idiom of sweating like a pig.
Yeah.
I didn't touch
Dude,
on
those
it
are
when
my
you mentioned it.
Favorite thing is when you learn a common saying and then they're like, this
Mhm.
is why. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with being fat.
it doesn't. It doesn't.
No, I kind of like the idea of doing like having some of the stories like that. So I think
I
that's
love
cool.
history in it all because that's the whole point, though, is like, why is this, why is there a ghost town? Like, what happened? You know? So I love it. What happened?
Okay,
Yeah, why-
so we get to 100,000 subscribers. We send one of our members into a ghost town. We'll alternate, so everyone has to do it once, all by themselves with a GoPro for 4 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours.
Okay, 2 hours. I don't know.
Well, just like what at noon on a Sunday?
Yeah, I
like
can
what-
do that.
yeah. Well,
I'll go to the state park one. You guys
No,
can do
no,
one
no, no,
that's
no. You
not.
can't go to the
No,
one
it
that's
is-
super well preserved
It
and
is
has a
pull a
picnic
name.
table.
It is pull a name out of a hat on the spot, and the other three go get McDonald's or something. And the other person has to sit in this. And
I don't even
and
get
has to
chicken
explore.
nuggets.
Well, I can grab some for you for after. But
So they're
who
cold?
gets chicken nuggets from McDonald's?
Everybody.
Short straw
nasty.
has to get locked in room 6.
Oh, not room 6.
That's rude.
Gee whiz.
So we give Neil the short stick,
Oh my
right?
God.
Are
Then
we
you get to
agreeing on
meet
this?
Yes.
Lady Blackthorn
Antebellum or whatever her name
Woolencraft
is.
and Shelley.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fun, though.
Yeah.
100,000 subscribers, and we'll throw Danielle in one of them.
You know
Why
what?
not?
100,000 subscribers, and we'll fucking talk about it. But if we can get
it's
over,
That's
you
a
know,
crazy number. So
All right,
Yeah.
fine. We'll do the first person has to go. Wait. No. Each person has to go to milestone. 25,000, one person. 50.
I guess
for another,
I'm the
75,
100,
and 100.
100,000. What did you say?
100,000.
100,000.
All right, so Danielle
So
gets the
before
worst.
that-
So we find the worst one for the 100,000 special,
Mhm.
and it's just Danielle dicking around in this place for 2 hours.
we're doing a lot of hypotheticals for this like 35 people audience.
All right,
Oh,
fine.
that's why I'm saying
we
it's
hit
fine.
10,000. Danielle has to do a viewing at her grandparents' house when it's up for sale, and she has to go in the basement for 4 hours.
Why are you sending her to your hell?
It'd be funny. Well, it's hers too. She remembers the basement
She
more than I
didn't
do.
see ghost fingers. All right, let's wrap it up. All right.
Yeah, absolutely fucking not. Also, how about this? We get 32 followers, and Zachary has to go to a hellhole. All right, good. Moving on.
How many are we at right now?
Plausible.
Like 30.
Oh shit! Who's gonna be the
Walls are
31st,
closing in.
32nd?
Yeah, exactly. So get a friend to follow, and we'll put Zachary in a hellhole with snakes.
Only if
All right,
it's
moving
exactly
on.
32 people. If it's 33, it doesn't count.
I'll unfollow us. Anywho, that's our episode for today. Thank you, Kelly, for looking into that. I am very interested in this town. I want to see it. I want to experience it. And I like that it's preserved. I don't feel like you get a lot of ghost towns that are preserved because, you know, it's usually just rotting away.
Just
Torn down,
falling
yeah.
into ruins. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's very cool, and I can't wait to check it out one day. So thanks for listening, and if you've enjoyed this episode, let us know. Likes, comments, and 5-star reviews are the best way to support us, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to us so you don't miss an episode. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dead Pine Archives. And make sure to check out our sister show, Midnight Horror Picture Show, available wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we will see you back here next week. Bye.
Bye.
And remember, be curious, not judgmental.
Cute.
That's Ted Lasso.
Yep.
Dude, that's copyrighted. We can't.
Is it actually copyrighted?
I don't know, probably.
I've been rewatching it.
Fucking Tim Cook and Apple are gonna sue the fuck out of us.
No.
Okay, I get why.
Ingot is bingot without the B.
Play Minecraft and you'll learn.
Your
working
intellect.
You
must
know
not-
what gold ingots are? It's just bars.
The only ingot I know is Inga Binga Bergen, and that's Leif Erikson Day.
Allison will be so happy to hear that.
Appreciate that I come in with facts and I get bullied.
I don't.
You're bullying. You are the bully.